In the hizzle, all for shizzle dizzle. We got an excellent show here today. Um, Trump is going to be inaugurated on January 20th, and uh, as y'all know, he wants to deal with the border immediately. That was one of the talks, and another talks was the situation in Ukraine. Now, we all know that uh, all the people who voted for Trump, let me say, all the people who want the war to end in Ukraine, a vast majority of them voted for Trump, being that Kamala Harris was for more war, more funding, and so I'm not going to say all voters who voted for Trump wanted to end the war in Ukraine. I'm saying all the people who want to end the war in Ukraine voted for Trump. Semantics, tomato, tomato, who cares, right? Bottom line is what I'm saying is that um, we got President Trump, we got Mike Johnson, and we got this situation in Ukraine. Now, Trump said he would, day one, end the Ukraine war, end it within 24 hours. A lot of people were skeptical and doubtful. I understand they're skeptic and doubt. However, there has to be an end goal. And this is why I think a lot of people, when they started thinking about Ukraine, you know, when the thing first jumped off, and I guess these people who funded would like have Ukrainian flags on their yard. I'm assuming, hey, what's going on, Sister Noble? I'm gonna be there. I'm en route as you see. Um, what's going on, Sister Noble? I just got some news, and they're talking about it being doubtful as to President Trump ending the war in Ukraine within 24 hours. Now we know we didn't actually literally mean 24 hours, but then again, I don't know. I say let Trump get in there, talk to Putin. He's already talked to Vladimir Zelensky, and the bottom line is that we, the people, want to see anything that causes a strain on our economy. So the closing the borders, uh, migrants coming in. As you know, shout out to Roland. She did a video this morning where a migrant set a person on fire, like literally set a woman on fire. She was sleeping on the train and he set her on fire. And I guess there were gunshots too. So stuff like this is a strain on our economy as far as like the housing, uh, the food stamps, and whatever resources we're giving. And of course, Ukraine. Ukraine is, every time I'm looking up, Biden is trying to, it's like he's trying to send off as much money as possible to Ukraine, and I guess they're trying to obligate Trump to that commitment. And it's going to be hard for anybody in the Trump administration to justify. I don't know if this is the Pentagon or whoever. Why is this person going the wrong way? You idiots! He's one way. Oh my God, these people kill me with that nonsense. Kill me with that bullshit. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. People in Covington, they kind of backwards. They be exiting out on entrances and they're doing weird shit. But I say this to say that I had talked to an individual last night during Roland's show, and I was asking, sincerely asking, like, why should, and this is to all the people who still wave the Ukrainian flags and feel like, oh, Putin is this evil dictator. Of course, he's not here now. I guess he didn't subscribe to my channel, but why should we support Ukraine. Why should we support Ukraine? What is the justification of why we should send money there? My analogy of the whole thing is if you have two countries, right, and they have a disagreement and they have a dispute and um, they happen to battle each other like Ukraine and Russia. If you don't have the resources to go to war, if you have to borrow money to go to war, that's not a good thing. That's not a good dependency. That is not, you know, I think they call it Article 15. Article 15 is when a country in NATO, if you start a war with a country in NATO, then that means every country has to go to war with that particular country that's attacking. And they call that Article 15, if I'm not mistaken, Article 15. And you cannot join NATO if you are already in a conflict. So Ukraine is already in a conflict, therefore, that would disqualify them of joining NATO, which is one of the red lines that Putin is saying, no, 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 no. I do not want NATO in my backyard, that being Ukraine, and setting up missiles along the borders. No, we're not doing that because literally Ukraine is in Russia. If you look at the parameters, you look at the, of how close they are to each other. They're basically neighbors, and it would be wise that many people have said that it should be to where Ukraine is a neutral buffer state as opposed to being a member of NATO. And so uh, you got Zelensky, you got the Ukrainians not realizing that America and NATO are using them for cannon fodder to, what's the word I want to use? They call it war of attrition to drain the military resources of Russia. But one thing that you cannot drain um, are nuclear warheads that Russia possesses. You cannot count on this war of attrition. I mean, you can say, oh, okay, well, we're going to drain Russia's troops. We're going to drain Russia's, I don't know, helicopters, missiles, bullets, whatnot. But you cannot drain their nuclear capability. Russia, during Gorbachev's era, during the era of during the era of the Great Soviet Union, have has had enough missiles, and now you got even more nuclear missiles to where they can strike every country in the world. Not only every country in the world, but every major city just in this country alone. They can strike New York, they can strike Texas, they can strike Florida, Georgia, Chicago, California, Colorado. They can strike all 50 states. All 50 states. And so this war of attrition, if that's the direction that they want to go in, is a very ridiculous and suicidal idea. Not with it. And so um, it makes me wonder, what is the end game of the U.S.? What is the end game? So now Biden is going to be out of office within less than 30 days. Less than 30 days, he will be out of office. And because he is going to be out of office, that kills his particular legacy of being a wartime president and of saying, oh, well, look at me. I defeated Russia and we drove them up out of Ukraine. That's not going to be the narrative. So As planned, this all falls in Trump's lap, and it makes it difficult. And I guess Trump didn't see this coming, I'm assuming, when the U.S. had authorized U.S. missiles, NATO missiles, to go into Russia. Like I said, even if, let's just say, NATO authorizes missiles and they attack NATO, Article 15 states that we have to go in there and we have to fight because of Article 15, that being NATO. Man, this NATO thing is really, because really, is it, you got to ask yourself, is NATO even necessary at this point? Because Russia, they protect their boundaries, that being Georgia, that being Ukraine. These are former, now one can argue and say Poland, but Poland is part of NATO. Okay. And you got NATO, then a buffer state being Ukraine, and then Russia, which Ukraine should be a buffer state. But however, um, the last I heard, Zelensky was willing to negotiate and give up the land that is previously occupied by Russia. However, he wants to join NATO. Again, NATO is a red line. What what's going on, David? They're not out of just screw him. They're out to just screw him. David, I agree, because that authorizing, when Trump won the election, then all of a sudden they're authorizing missiles to go into Russia. Yeah, that was some straight hater nonsense they did to Trump. And they knew Trump would be forced. Like I said, they just put that in his lap. They oh, by the way, we signed missiles, and they're authorized to shoot into Russia, which is a red line. Which is a red line. So I commend Putin on being, and I'm not pro Putin. I just commend Putin on his patience, because he, like us, he sees what's going on. He sees what's going on with Biden's mental decline. He see, Putin spoke on the prosecution of Trump and what they were doing to him as far as trying to lock him up. So Putin sees all this. He sees all this. He's seen the rallies where Trump stated that he would end the war. He wants to see both sides to stop dying. He didn't take a side. What's going on, Prosperity? Hey, Prosperity. Shout out to Prosperity. Y'all subscribe to Prosperity. Y'all subscribe to Sister Nova too. And subscribe. I don't know, David, if you have a channel, but if you do, post your channel. Everybody. But yeah, I'm just looking at these red lines that that America keeps crossing, and I'm like, why would you cross a red line with one of the countries that has the most nuclear arsenals in the world? Again, Russia was ahead on nuclear arsenals during the time of Reagan. During the time of Reagan, I remember this vividly and specifically, and they have grown more arsenals since then. And now even their allies, the BRICS nations, have nuclear arsenals. That being India, that being China, of course, um, North Korea, which, if I remember, Trump had a good rapport with Kim Jong Un, so hopefully they can restore that relationship and calm Kim Jong Un down, and hopefully Trump can calm down. Well, like I said, from what it appears, it seems that Vladimir Putin is being very patient. And like I said, this guy came into Miss Lynn's chat talking about, uh, that Trump is going to be Putin's puppet and all that. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? And allegedly, he's former military. Now, being former military doesn't necessarily mean that you are politically insightful, especially on foreign policies. So that really means nothing nowadays. You know, back when well, I ain't gonna say, you know, soldiers, veterans were like regular people. Some are interested in politics and some aren't. So it's just like normal everyday, like most veterans I know are in the football. So it's not like I expect veterans to have a certain level of knowledge when it comes to foreign policy. So I'm not gonna hold him to that. So he's a veteran just like me. So shout out to him on that. Much respect. However, your foreign policy is boo boo, and for him to speak against Trump and calling him Putin's puppet is just like, yeah, I don't see it, brother. You got to explain that to me, and I'm willing to have a sit down discussion on that. I'm willing to have a sit down discussion on that and like present the evidence. So what I will do, I don't know when I can get a hold of this guy. I forgot his name. He was Wesley something or Watson or something. Not Wes Watson. Shout out to Wes Watson, but it was a guy just in the chat. I mean, talking all this mad smack, and I was just like, dude, like you were totally brainwashed by the media, obviously. Either that or you just trolling. But yeah, let's have that discussion, are y'all? Diddly squat, as I was saying before my damn phone acted funny, to Ukraine. You know, and I keep hearing these boogeyman stories about, oh, if we let Putin take over Ukraine, he want to take over the world. You're gonna have to show that. You're really gonna have to prove your point. I can prove my point very easily because if Putin were to take over the world, then he would easily take over Kiev. Let me say that again, y'all. I don't know if you guys in the chat know where Kiev is located in Ukraine as opposed to the Donbass, but Kiev is the west of Ukraine, right? And they keep saying, oh, Putin wants to take over Ukraine, and then he wants to take over Poland, and then he wants to take over Europe. He wants to take over the world. And I'm like, he wants to take over the world, but he's not advancing in Kiev. That's so you would have to argue that point. You would have to convince me. But of course, last night you were not answering any questions because I think you realized you stepped in the lava. You realize that little pond you saw is deeper than you thought, and you fell in because I was asking you questions that you couldn't keep up with. And in fact, you got to the point where you even antagonized Miss Lynn. You thought you could antagonize, but you couldn't antagonize Miss Lynn, and um, therefore, you were unable to, I guess, I don't know if you were trolling or trying to distract, but as you can see, I'm a veteran. I can't be. I'm once I zoom in on something, and this is what I do. I'm a moderator over there in Lynn. So by you bringing up the topic of Putin and putting that misinformation, I was obligated to check you, and that's what you didn't like. So again, if you want to come over here and have that discussion, you can. I hope he sees this video, but Prosperity said, didn't know you were which branch? Marines, baby, Marines Prosperity. And Prosperity said Russia wanted to keep his turf safe. U.S. wants others to take over us. Yeah, Prosperity. I know you lived during the. Now Prosperity looks very young, but she knows about the very. She knows about the Reagan era, and she knows that Russia Russia made red lines like don't cross this red line years ago. And when Russia fell, um, in fact, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm gonna go to Bush Bush W. The last time that they tried Russia was they tried to get some type of the same thing that Ukraine is doing. Georgia tried to do, and Georgia crossed that red line, and they rushed up in god dang Georgia, and they shut that shit down real quick. I remember that. I remember that. And similar situation. Now, I can't really compare Georgia to Ukraine because Ukraine um, is taking a little bit longer. However, uh, Ukraine is borrowing more money and they're able to, just because where they're located. Georgia, on the other hand, they their supplies got cut off, and basically they got cut off, and so they gave up. But that being Georgia, but because Ukraine is right next to Poland, they're able to feed. Because Kiev is right next to Poland, so they're able to keep feeding them uh, ammunition, feeding them resources, feeding them money, of course. And so, um, I'm trying to figure out this goal. I mean, at the end of the day, we can all say, I mean, we could just say, okay, let's follow the money trail. It comes down to Russia and the U.S. selling oil. It comes down to Russia, but then again, Putin said he's willing to use the dollar again when Trump got elected. So when Trump got elected, Putin said he's willing to back the oil currency with the U.S. dollar once more, and basically saying BRICS dollar would not become a threat to the American dollar. So half of what America wants is look at this idiot. Half of America wants, which is the dominance of the American dollar, is already coming back into fold. So half of that negotiation's already done. Hubby is representing Army and enjoys you on Roland's. Oh yeah. Hey, let me say this, Prosperity. I'm glad that he's enjoying the show. Um, the show. Let me speak on Miss Roland's show, man. And y'all know I love Miss Roland. I love Miss Roland. Sometimes me and Miss Roland, sometimes she'll call me and she'll give me three choices on topics to talk about. Lately, she hasn't been doing that. She has been blindsiding me with topics, and I don't know if it's because I don't know. It's like the last topic. We were talking about her favorite lawyer, mayor, the super mayor, Tiffany Henyard. Now, y'all know I believe this is how I believe. I believe that men, Prosperity, correct me if I'm wrong, and I got dang Noble in the chat too, so I got women here right now, so y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Men and women, we tend to prioritize things differently. Is this not true? Sometimes I think we see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, and sometimes I think we prioritize things very differently. Now, Prosperity's husband is in the military, so um, I'm assuming he's around my age. So then he went through the boot camp like I did. And let me tell you, Army, Marines, it don't matter. They boot camp very similar. If you want to know what I'm talking about, Full Metal Jacket is one of my favorite movies when they go through the boot camp, and that's why I tell people they should join the military as men because that will toughen them up. With that being said, some women go into the military. Cool. I don't object because my sister also was in the Marines. So I was inspired by my sister to go into the Marines, right? Okay, so I say that to say this. We were watching Tiffany Hilliard yesterday. You follow me? Definitely a baby boomer. Okay, he's a vet. Yes, yes, yes. I notice your change. Okay, so she said, I noticed my change. She said, I noticed my change. Oh, yo, what's up, Brazen, man? I didn't see you. What's up, man? And the HMS, what's going on? So, yeah, the change that I'm bringing about, I think a lot of topics, Roland and I, we agree on a lot of topics, but lately she's just been popping up topics that, and I'm just like, so we're watching Tiffany Henyard, and we're watching the video, and the title was, one of the guys called the people the N-word. Okay, so I'm watching it, and in the video, and you've seen the same thing, Prosperity, because you were there. In the video, they said Tiffany Henyard uh, basically misallocated funds, and the firefighters were not getting paid. The small businesses were not getting paid. So me, as a man, I prioritize the mismanagement of money. She prioritized the guy calling the people the N-word. Press the one if you just heard that. Now I love Miss Lynn. Miss Lynn, you know I love you, but y'all press the one if y'all hear what I just said. Tiffany Henyard, one of her cohorts, out of the frustration, and I call it a three-part money distraction, called the people the N-word. Her focus was on that. My focus wasn't on misappropriation of the funds. Let me read the comment. Yes. Oh, on the show, and silence is the change which speaks louder. The show and silence is the change which speaks louder. Okay, Miss Prosperity. Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. And so, yeah, like I said, I love you. I love Miss Lynn, but I think on that specific show, the priority, I heard the N word, but once I saw the video, my priority shifted towards the misallocation of funds. I don't take that very lightly. And so I was like, Miss Lynn, but they misallocated funds. She's like, yeah, but he said the N word. And I'm like, so as a man, I'm looking at, to me, what's more important was the misallocation of the funds, not the N word. Now, Miss Prosperity, your husband has been in the military, so he was in the military, I'm assuming, before the whole DEI and before soldiers began to have feelings. So what I'm saying is that our drill sergeants called us the N word, and I'm talking about like real rednecks, like chewing tobacco, like calling us, niggas and spics and all that shit. And yeah, I'm a curse because that's what they called us in drill camp. So once I came out of training, like words didn't bother me. And imagine I'm well traveled, and I know you probably been to Mexico, Miss Lynn. I've had Hispanics call me Miñate. But so my thing is that the way I've been taught, not only through boot camp training, but my dad, is that uh, you don't let nobody put their hands on you. As a man, you don't respond to words or name calling. You respond the minute somebody put hands on you. And so, Miss Rowland's a teacher. She comes from the world where I guess, language and all that, I guess she's offended by that as a woman. As a woman who's a teacher, who's in the professional world, she is offended by that. And I guess she assumed that I would be offended by that. But again, Miss Lynn does not know my background. She does not know that I'm from the streets. She does not know I was in the military. She does not know that I've traveled and I've been around the likes of MS-13, like MA. I said this on the show last night, and it all went over her head. Much respect, due respect to Miss Lynn, and it's like a tale of two cities. With all due respect, it's a tale of two cities. And it was funny because Miss Lynn is a teacher on a military base. But I guess she doesn't go through the boot camp, but she teaches the students of the veteran, the vets there, the parents that are in the service. But I say that to say this is that um, I had to kind of let her know that, yeah, that I kept zeroing in on the mismanagement, which I think is which can cause mismanagement and embezzlement can be a serious felony. This is a serious matter. And these firefighters, which I was like, man, these people are, people in uniform, law enforcement, firefighters, ambulance, first responders not getting paid really bothered me. That really bothered me. And you're talking about people not feeding their families, businesses shutting down because I own my own business. And so I was really, that really, it really upset me. And Miss Lynn was like, Black son, Black son. The guy said he used the N-word. And I'm like, so she couldn't understand why I didn't prioritize the N-word. And I'm trying to understand why she didn't prioritize the embezzlement of these tax dollars and how these people are not getting paid. Can you help me out, Prosperity? Can somebody please help me out with this? And I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but I think I made my point clear, but I was just a little confused by the priority. And then I said, well, maybe, maybe it's a male woman thing, because I noticed in the media, they will do a lot of name calling. It will get attention of a lot of women because women are more emotional than men. Me, I'm looking at the money. I'm not emotional like that. I'll get emotional when I find out you're embezzling and taking my tax dollars and using it on trips when I can't even go on trips. Let me see what name all you want, but hands will raise a whole new case. That's what I was saying, Prosperity. That's what I was saying. I mean, the guy used the N-word. I get it. He was upset. He's there to protect Miss Hinyard as a man. I get it. So I would be a hypocrite because I know if I was in issues, I probably would have said the same thing because I use the damn word when I'm upset. And so, no, I don't get mad when white people use it, when black people use it. I don't get mad because it's just a word to me. It's when you try to put your hands on me, then we got an issue. So it's not a big deal to me. Like I said, I had drill instructors who were straight rednecks using that word in boot camp. They don't do that anymore, but I come from the old school. And then so I don't know, Prosperity, ask your husband and ask her where they redneck drill sergeants where he was at using the N-word. I don't know, but where I was, they were using it. They were using it, but they were using all that. Like I said, if you watch goddamn Full Metal Jacket, that was some real stuff. And like I said, I've been around some rednecks that were, some hillbillies that were straight from the goddamn Appalachians as my damn drill instructor. So when I come out into the real world or the civilian world, I don't call it real world, civilian world, and I hear people use the N-word, okay, yeah, and quiet as it be kept, I ain't gonna mention it because I don't like to mention certain things in the military. Let me just say that I only mention that because they made a movie about that Full Metal Jacket and that, but the name calling. I'm not gonna mention anything else about the military, because it doesn't apply anymore, and so I don't want to sound like I'm glorifying my era of boot camp training. But I say that to say this, yeah, words don't bother me. But again, I understand Miss Lynn and where she comes from. She's educated and she's very professional. And so she looks at the world through a lens of professionality and all that. And my thing is that if that makes you upset, and it made a lot of people upset that the guy used the N-word, then handle it accordingly. But don't expect me to be upset. I'm a man. I don't, that doesn't bother me. And so, yeah, I think she was a little uncomfortable that I was not bothered by it. But now she understands it. So shout out, much love to Miss Lynn. But yeah, I think, again, it was just a classic case of a tale of two cities. And when I say a tale of two cities, I'm talking about black men and black women, because a lot of black women are professional, but there's a lot of black women who don't experience the streets. There are. In my 50 years of living, let me tell you, you got black women that are from the streets and they get body, that understand that world. And you got some black women that don't never experience the streets. and they're professional and they speak proper and they live their lives accordingly and they don't get involved in street stuff and all that. And I'm not saying get involved in street stuff. I'm saying street stuff got involved with me. Military got involved with me, gang life got involved with me. But I don't glorify that now, but I'm just saying that I don't, in being in that environment, it has conditioned me not to react on words. Like you're saying, I will react. You put your hands on me, I will react very swiftly. But if you don't put your hands on me, then I'm cool. And because that's been my, I'm 52 years old. As a black man that has grew up in South Central LA and Miss Prosperity, you grew up in the South Side of Chicago, so you know what I'm about to say is that, you know, by me being cool and not reacting to name calling has allowed me to avoid situations that could end up in people doing this or doing this, taking out blades or pew pews and all that. What I'm saying is that words don't bother me as a man. So I don't react to words. I don't. And so, yeah, I think that was a surprise to Miss Lynn. So, yeah, shout out to Miss Lynn. Y'all subscribe to her channel and roll the view. She did a thing this morning, but I was getting ready because like I said, I gotta make I gotta travel, and my travel distance was cut in half now, but I wanted to cut on the camera before I get to my destination and just speak on the situation with Russia, and of course speak on the situation with Miss Lynn on the show the other day. Like I said, um, I was trying to stay silent, Prosperity, but Miss Lynn kept picking and picking, picking and picking. But what's your, and I'm just like, and I try to hint to her like, yo, that embezzlement really bothered me. And she just like ignored that and like, but what about the N-word? And I'm just like, oh my God, really? Oh my God. So I just let her know it doesn't bother me. And so I just had to, I damn near exploded on the show. But she kept picking and picking and picking and picking. Kept picking and picking and picking and picking on something that was insignificant to me. The N word is not insignificant to me, has never been insignificant to me. That's why I made it through boot camp. And that's why I've avoided a lot of situations because the N word does not bother me as a man. A lot of words don't bother me as a man. But again, it's very rare that I've been in a situation where people put hands on me. I try to have somebody come at me with a bat, these essays in LA. So I had somebody try to hit me in the head, but hit me in the back with a golf club. So I've been in situations where, trust me, I think about those situations and I think about the name calling. Yeah, I'd rather just go through the name calling than go through a situation where I have to put up these. And sometimes when I put up these, I might end up in damn jail for assault. Because they label black men as violent. So as a black man, I don't react to every word that's said, especially the N word when people are just using it so loosely. They use it in songs. That's why I don't trip about it. Okay, oh, he said the N word. Okay, it's part of our culture. Now, do I want it to be part of our culture? No. I don't want it to be, but it's a lot of things that I don't want. What's that song? You can't always get what you want. No. Do I prefer my kids and other kids' generation to speak proper? Yeah, I would love that. But the reality is that we live uh, in a society where people are just comfortable using certain words, and so therefore it is what it is. You can't stop it. But you can stop somebody from doing harm, physical harm to you, putting their physical hands on you. And that's what I'm an advocate against. Against keep your hands to yourself. That's what I'm an advocate of. So again, most of the people on there that was doing the talking, the guy was defending Miss Hinyard. Now, if I was part of her crew, I would defend her too. Miss Hinyard had now again. This does not mean I condone that embezzling because I got a problem with that. I don't that embezzlement. I am not for that, and she needs to cut that out or whatever investigation they do. Let that unfold the way it is because that's what I was focused on. That's what I was focused on. But using the N word, that doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. But if the people are bothered by that, then so be it. Do what you need to do to get him reprimanded and fired, whatever. Do that. You just won't see me doing that because there's more priority concerns like where did that money go? Like this is some embezzlement going on here, and that's a felony. So the name calling is insignificance. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So yeah, both of you are dynamic. No, I agree. Miss Rowland is very talented, Miss Prosperity, and so you. We are a team, and that's why I want to. I mean, um, I want her to give me the opportunity to let me know what the topics are and what direction she's going in before, and so that way I'm not disagreeing with her. I'd rather us come together as a force and work together and get things done as opposed to debating whether calling the N word somebody the N word is a priority or not. That it's not a priority. And so yeah, I think she is too talented. I think you're too talented to debate over whether the N word is something that we should like prioritize over. And if that's something that she wants to prioritize it, just I will step back and be like, okay, well this particular topic is not for me. But like I said, there's topics that I do want to do, and there's topics that I don't agree with. I don't agree with uh, prioritizing somebody using the N word. That's not a priority. There's more important things to discuss. And like I said, that embezzlement, that damn mismanagement of funds, we're looking at a potential felony right there. And so, yeah, but no, Miss Lynn is very talented, but I don't, like I said, that's the N word doesn't bother me. So I think I'm learning Miss Lynn. Miss Lynn is learning me, but I don't want certain things to be misconstrued or misinterpreted. Meaning, because she's always said that we can agree to disagree, um, but I don't. I want to build as opposed to debating. I don't want to debate. I want to build. That's what I want to do. I don't want to. Now I know some people are entertained by debates. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But I don't want to be on there disagreeing on some insignificant stuff. If it's something that's significant, then yeah, like I said, the embezzlement thing, that's significant, but more than likely, you, me, and her are going to agree on that. We're going to agree that embezzlement is wrong, and that we shouldn't be taking tax dollars away from the citizens like yourself. Now, I will say this: in your situation, prosperity with the mayor of Chicago, it should be significant. It should be significant. Again, my priority as a man was the money. That was the priority. Once the video was shown of that, that became priority. So the N word wasn't a priority. It was, if that makes any sense. But I, like I said, I know, and to me, I look at it as a distraction. I look at it as if you call somebody a nigga and everybody get all emotional, then they'll forget about the embezzlement of the money. That's the way I look at it. As a man, that's the way I look at it. And uh, I look at it as a three-card Monty. I don't know if they do that in Chicago, Miss Prosperity. They definitely do it in New York, but it's called the three-card Monty. Oh shit, my battery's getting low. Oh damn. All right, Prosperity. Agreeing is not always the key. Different perspectives are interesting as well. Yeah, but I wanted. I mean, how do I tell Miss Lynn that she got during the three-card Monty? She got distracted and she didn't even realize it. That man using the N word was to distract black people and get in their emotions while and I did it real time, Miss Prosperity. I said, what about the money? And she's like, but what about him saying the N word? And I was like, wow, they played a trick on her. And like I said, this is a tale of two cities. I don't think Miss Lynn, she's very smart, educated, but I think she's easily tricked when it comes to the three-card Monty. With three-card Monty is a street trick, and she got played. She got distracted with the N word, not realizing that that was used to distract from the money. Because I said in real time, I said, Miss Lynn, but this right here, and she's like, oh, but the N word. She was bothered by the N word and was not even focusing on the money that was being taken away from the taxpayers. Jesse is definitely, that's mine too, the money. Okay, see, prosperity, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I said not all black women are fooled by that. You saw that. You saw that the money, they played that, and then somehow we got back to the N word. I was like, no, 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 no. The money, the money, the money. And she's like, but the N word. I'm like, no, 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 the money. And this is why prosperity, they took the black man out of the household. Because a lot of the people in the government, they have a lot of street sense and they know that a lot, not many, I mean, no, no, no. Not all black women you can fool with the three-card money, but the professional ones, I'm talking about a tale of two cities. The straight ones, you can fool very easily, especially the highly educated ones. You can fool them. You can do the three-card money, and that's what was done last night. And I saw it in real time, and I'm just like, oh gosh, I can't even protect my sister when she's being played. So the guy said, oh, y'all a bunch of niggas. Don't you think, first of all, Tiffany Henyard has street sense. She has street sense. That sister got some street sense. And the people she hang around, them were all some street ninjas. Them were all street ninjas. So they know how to play the game and do the three-card money and distract you. And me being from the street, I wasn't distracted. But Miss Lynn, who's high educated, was distracted. She didn't see the three-card money being played. So that's all I was saying. So I'm going to talk to her today, and we're going to have a discussion, and we're going to move forward. Because Miss Lynn's going to have a very prosperous and a very successful show, but I want to make sure that um, if I see, again, she's unaware, but that whole setup, she was played. It was a three-card money. So, yeah, I like to protect my sisters from that kind of stuff. So it is what it is. Who used the N word? Oh, Miss Tiffany, the super mayor, one of her cohorts used it because they were trying to find out what was being done with the money. And out of all the emotions, he used the N word. Oh, them niggas are this, that. And then everybody got focused on that. And all of a sudden, that became the nucleus of the issue, him using the N word as opposed to why people were there in the first place because of the money being mismanaged, the money being embezzled, and firefighters not getting paid. But somehow, this guy using the N word was now the nucleus of the. It was all of a sudden the attention, and Miss Lynn was distracted. The three-card money was played on her, and the three-card money wasn't made on me. And she's like, "Oh my gosh!" But he said the N word, and I'm like, Miss Lynn, "Oh my gosh, that's not important." And so then we spent about me and Miss Lynn spent about 5 minutes going back and forth why I felt that wasn't important. And then people were in the chat, well, it's time Miss Lynn. They were like, oh my God, but it's wrong. You can't use the N word. And I'm like, oh my gosh, embezzling money is wrong. But somehow y'all got distracted and I was just getting frustrated. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So, yeah. All right, y'all. I've reached my destination and apparently I have to walk through this gate. So let me get going. Love y'all, Badgerton, Miss Prosperity, everybody. Hi. Good evening, y'all. Oh, the gate closed. The gate closed. I'm gonna have to. All right, y'all. With that being said, man, we out, y'all. Peace. I'm out. Ooh.